Welcome everyone to CDO's magazine series of one-on-one interviews with CDOs, data leaders, and key influencers. I'm your host, Robert Lutton, Vice President, Sandhill Consultants, and I'm coming to you today from Toronto, Canada. Working with the CDO magazine, the MIT CDO IQ International Symposium, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Sanjay Saxena, who is the Chief Digital and Data Officer for Celebrity Financial. Welcome, Sanjay.
Thank you very much, Robert. Glad to be here.
From your background, or if a CDO does not have a deep background in data and analytics, is there a recommendation that you would point them as to where to start? Where would you suggest they begin?
Yeah, so definitely very important for them to go through any relevant education or courses to be able to understand analytics to a level that they, for example, their own data science is comfortable with their expertise, right? And I would say that there are lots of resources that are available if one wants to get hands-on and get deep down into analytics. That is a possibility. That is something that I did.
Right.
In my career, I took a course with a university and went deep down into programming. In fact, people were surprised that somebody at my level was getting down to that level, and they were very appreciative of it as well. But that has given me a foundation which nobody can debate, right? Even my chief data scientist knows that I know my stuff, and that there's no getting around to explaining to me how things get done.
Yeah, there's no black box and then magic happens. You know exactly what happens. That's really critical. And Sanjay, I want to thank you for at least explaining where perhaps a CDO that may not be as proficient in data analytics could start with. But just moving on, I noticed that you are very passionate and a strong advocate for aligning with the organization's business strategy, its priorities, and financial goals. Could you provide any insights on how you've aligned your strategy to engage a business and explain how you're delivering on their priorities?
Absolutely. So one of the things, Robert, that is very helpful in a business situation is that to be able to get in with the business, to be able to establish a relationship with them, and then understand what should be my group priorities that are aligned with theirs. So so we have two sides of our company. We have the more established side, which is the home loans business, and we have the new side, which is the more innovative side. So I'll talk about both of those. So in a more traditional home loans business, where we know the business processes, we know the players involved, there is an established organization. The challenge is, how do we make those operations more effective, right? So working with the president of that company, working with the chief financial officer and some of the key executives responsible for the different functions, to be able to understand what are their challenges that can be met either by a digital solution or by data. And then being able to prioritize that into my roadmap is a very essential step on the home loan side. On the new business side, the challenge is even more significant in that, and the relationship part is even more relevant, that you have to embed yourself right from the inception of the product, right from the very beginning, because some of the products that we are talking about are brand new to the marketplace. Nobody has even conceptualized that. So right from the pilot stage of the product to the market research, to understand how you will build a digital framework, to in many instances, even talking to the investors who are willing to invest in that product with my company, you need a lot of the frameworks to be in place, etc. So that is how I believe that value is created in the role, and that is how you create respect for the CDO and the digital lead role, is that they see you as a complete partner, right? There have been many instances in that in those interactions, especially on the new product development side, where they have asked me for my expertise or my opinions on the product itself, and the business and the operational aspects of the product, not on the data and the digital side. And to me, that speaks volumes to the relationship that I've been able to build with them.
Well, especially on the new side of the business, as well as you've been sort of immersed from the beginning, you get to understand the challenges that the business is struggling with. And from the data and analytics side and the experience that you've got, you can obviously think with possible solutions that might be able to benefit that. So that, Sanjay, that's great. I know another passion is obviously the enterprise data and analytics, and I understand that it's extremely important for you to put this roadmap for enterprise data and analytics together. You've mentioned that a couple of times. From your point of view, could you help our listeners understand why this is critical and what has been the benefit that the organization has received from the execution of this roadmap?
Right. So very early on in my tenure here, I put a data analytics roadmap in place. I built out the data foundation, so the basic tools that are required to do analytics, whether it is the business intelligence tools or the more advanced tools, all those things were part of the roadmap. And the importance of the roadmap is obvious, but I will also explain it in more detail for the viewers. That you are looking for that the business is looking for a game plan, right? They do understand the more descriptive analytics, the reporting aspects of it, to say, hey, I need a report on this. I need a report on how efficient my loan officers are, etc. But when it comes to the more advanced topics, such as forecasting of your revenue, for example, especially given our current market situation, there is so much of a flux in the mortgage space, etc. There are so many external factors.
Right.
So to be able to show them the progression and the sophistication you are building into the decision-making process, roadmaps are essential, right? So I have used my roadmap in my mind very effectively in as a communication tool, right? So I have monthly meetings with the steering group, which consists of senior leaders. I talk to them about the progress that I'm making on the roadmap, the value that it has delivered for them, whether it is on the revenue side or on the operational side, and then basically ask them for their priorities, right? Am I thinking about this in the right fashion, or has something new come in that you want me to change my priorities? So I think it's a very, very important tool. And it also then cumulatively, it shows the progress we've made. So when we now look back and say, oh, we've delivered this every quarter for the last 4 quarters, people then sit back and say, oh, wow, I didn't know that we've done so much. And it's just a way of communicating more effectively in my mind, and also showing progress.
And it shows you, and it shows you that you're a true partner in the business as well, right?
Exactly.
You understand that. So now, with the roadmap, with the strategy, you obviously have to have a team, right? Now, there's a common theme that we see with organizations on recognizing the importance of developing talent within the organization. From your point of view, what would you say are the critical skills that you would look to start building up the talent to leverage your data and analytics programs? What are you looking for? Or where would someone start?
So first of all, Celebrity Financial and Celebrity Home Loans is a very, very people-centric company. A lot of the focus I talked about, the customer and the financial literacy piece, but the same concepts apply to our partners within the firm. Their growth, their engagement is very critical to us, and in particular to my role, I need them to be successful. So when it comes to inducting people into my team, I'm looking for several different skill sets, right? One of the main things that analytics leaders in particular face is the lack of business or domain knowledge in their teams. Right. So being able to identify the right resources who have that knowledge and skill set, and yet have the curiosity to learn the data side of things, because many people cannot make that transition. So that's a critical skill that we want to
Right.
maybe source internally, but that is something that we actively look for. The second kind of talent we are looking for is the data science kind of people, the technology skills. So right from your traditional BI reporting and the tools that we have to the more advanced data science kind of tools, it is very, very important to induct the right people. And I cannot overemphasize the importance of selecting the right data scientist for your team, because as you know, these positions are more expensive.
Right.
And they're often very hard to interview as well, because you don't know, they may know everything, but they may not be able to do the right modeling, right?
Right.
So
Right.
so that is where, back to your earlier question, knowledge of data analytics as a CDO comes very handy, right? You can create the right talent pool within. And the third thing is the collaboration, right? The third attribute we are looking for is, hey, you may have all the skill sets, but can you really collaborate with the bigger business to be able to define what problems need to be solved? Can you work with them on a day-to-day basis? Because our work is very iterative. So we build something, we show them, maybe the models work, they need to be fine-tuned, maybe we need to, in many instances, just abandon something and try something new. So we need a lot of interaction, so that collaboration is another ability that we look for in our team members.
Well, Sanjay, we could talk for many, many more minutes and perhaps even hours into your strategy, but unfortunately, we've got to kind of call it there. I'd really like to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. We hope we'll get a chance to come back and hear more about you sharing your experience on your strategy, your enterprise data and analytics programs with Celebrity Financial in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciated the interview and the depth of your questions. I enjoyed the interview.
Thank you very much indeed. And for our listeners, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.